Welcome to the carbohydrates of physiologic significance. Carbohydrates are the body's main energy source through glycolysis, glycogenesis, Krebs cycle, and gluconeogenesis, to mention but a few. Glycolysis is the metabolic pathway that converts glucose into pyruvate. In summary, it is the breakdown of glucose by enzymes, thereby releasing energy and pyruvic acid. Inoxidized pyruvate enters the Krebs cycle, another energy pathway. The molecules of carbohydrate consist of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and one molecule of water. They are considered aldehydes and ketones, monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, polysaccharides, to mention but a few. Of all the carbohydrates and sugars, glucose is a simple sugar, is the most utilized in the brain, tissues, and cells of the body for its immediate energy needs. Excess of it is converted to glycogen and stored in the liver and muscles. Another key physiological significance of carbohydrate entails the regulation of blood sugar and insulin metabolism. Carbohydrate provides for structural support to tissues, dietary fibers that aid digestion and bowel movement. The clinical relevance of carbohydrate also entails cholesterol and triglyceride metabolism. The occurrence of dairy products such as milk, sugar, example lactose and galactose as sugars, is excreted in urine as a clinical condition expressed as glycosuria or improperly managed diabetes mellitus, and also in a form of genetic disease, the hereditary galactosemia. Monosaccharides. The objective of this lecture is to emphasize on the structure of carbohydrates, the types of carbohydrates, monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, polysaccharides. The emphasis will be on carbohydrates of physiological significance. The structure of carbohydrates. Here we have the glucose sugar and also the galactose sugars. The hydrogen carbon, the hydroxy carbons here, the hydroxyl group here and this hydroxyl group here distinguishes them in form of, relative to their chiral properties. If you impose this glucose here, this galactose, or D on glucose D, their chirality comes out. Here you have a fructose, a linear structure, which is common among most carbohydrates. Though you have some branch chain carbohydrates as in polysaccharides, but here we will have them as linear structures. These are some of the complex carbohydrates in structure underneath here. Monosaccharides. The monosaccharides are sugars with simple, or carbohydrates with single units of glucose. They can be hydrolyzed further because they are only one unit of glucose. They consist of a single glucose or sugar unit. Triose is example of a simple sugar or a monosaccharide. Triosis because it has 3 units of glucose. Pentose, 5 units of glucose. Hexosis, 6 units of glucose. In the pentaphosphates pathway related to pentose sugar, it is a forceful relation. It is a function that generates ribose 5-phosphate, or a crucial building block for nucleic acids. And nucleic acids, not just that item, NADH, a reducing agent used in various biosynthetic pathways to combat oxidative stress in human cells, and also growth and repair molecules. This is one of the functions of pentose sugar as expressed in pentose pathway. Generally, monosaccharides, as aforementioned, produces and store energy in the liver. They are also the building blocks for body structural elements, as they are found in muscles or also in liver. Disaccharides. Disaccharides consist of 2 units of glucose. Hence, they are called disaccharides. They are polar organic entities. Polar in the sense that in solvents or molecules, they have distinct regions of positive and negative charges distributed unevenly across the molecules in which they are found. Trihalose. Trihalose is a saccharide that has 3 units of glucose. It protects the cells from environmental stress, example dehydration, oxidation, thereby stabilizing body proteins and membrane. That makes it easy for the body physiology to function. Apart from all of this, they are energy source to the body. Lactose is another polysaccharide. It is an energy source also. It forms a building block from glucose and galactose. Disaccharide provides 50% of infant energy through lactose and mammary glands of the parent of a child. Minerals adhesion is one of its functions. The gut health I mean stomach health. They provide lining that makes it possible for food to be digested in a mild environment. They lubricate the human gut. And they are found in sports nutrition, which of course nourishes the body and also provides energy for it. Pharmacological uses entails incorporation into drug manufacture. In fact, they are part of drug pharmacopoeia, kinetics, and also part of drug pharmacognosy, if you would. Sucrose. This is another disaccharide. It's a source of energy when digested into glucose and fructose, though excess of it can lead to diarrhea and impact human physiology in that form. Disaccharides do not diffuse through plasma membrane because of the large sizes. Maltose is one of them. We've mentioned trihalose as a disaccharide, trehalose as a disaccharide, lactose, sucrose, and so forth. Significant source of physiologic energy to the body cells and tissues is one of the functions of disaccharide. Disaccharides like lactose also could induce lactose intolerance, which is the absence of lactase enzyme to digest milk and other dairy products. Lactulose is a useful treatment for constipation and liver diseases. Oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides are a member of the carbohydrate family and entails some physiological functions of significance. They are made up of 3 to 10 units of monosaccharides. Raffinose is found among oligosaccharides. It's a beans derivative, and some vegetables also contain raffinose. Some are indigestible by human enzymes, and so they are hostile to human physiology or could precipitate adverse physiological conditions like indigestion, constipation, and even poisoning. Oligosaccharides impact the immune system due to their sugar structure. They are used in construction of some of immune vaccines, and also you're used to convey them within human system. They are considered as beneficial short-chain fatty acids and are useful in fermentation of, example, probiotics that you find in yogurts and other food items. Oligosaccharides attach to proteins and lipids in recognition signals. This is very important in human physiology because inability of the human body to recognize itself could lead to autoimmune diseases. And that is not fair, or that could be dangerous to human being because of the health concerns. Oligosaccharides attach to proteins and lipids in recognition signal, and that it's further complicated if, in absence of the body recognizing itself, it could be predatory to its own. Raffinose are found in beans for re-emphasis and some of vegetables. Some are indigestible by human enzymes. Polysaccharides. These are complex carbohydrates and long-chain sugars. They entails 10 or more monosaccharides units, provide structural support for cells, walls, in plant. Physiologic immune functions exist among polysaccharides. They are primary source of energy. As a storage molecule, they exist and strengthen the body supply for nutrients. Then they are linear or branched in structure and bear carbon chain structures. Polysaccharides of note are starch, dextrin are typical examples. Starch is a food item and a major carbohydrate extract. Dextrin is another typical example of a carbohydrate and of the family of polysaccharides. Primary source of digestive fibers. Polysaccharides provides fibers that strengthen a human body and also found in nutrients. Other polysaccharides include pectins, cellulose, hemicellulose, and you name it, all of which strengthen the human body and also source of food and energy. Biomedical significance of polysaccharides. L-xylose are metabolites excreted in urine as a condition pentose urea. Pentose in this sense is 5 carbon atom found 5 carbon units of glucose found in urea. We have the D-glucose, which could precipitate a clinical condition called glucose urea. It is a a condition in which excess glucose is found in urine, consequence of excess of it in the human blood, which automatically finds its way through the kidney and eventually the ureter, the bladder and ureter, and evacuated. So such conditions, clinical conditions, are consequences of carbohydrate digestion. Then there is fructose also as a biomedical significance of carbohydrate. Fructose has a hereditary problems. If a patient is found to have inability to digest fructose, it is considered as a congenital fructose malabsorption because of that inability. Another one is sucrose intolerance. It is a condition in which some human beings cannot tolerate glucose, and its content or its presence in the blood could cause diarrhea in the digestive system, and also could lead to flatulence as a symptom. Acidosis. Acidosis is a biomedical significance of carbohydrate. It is an increase in lactate level in the blood. Diabetes. Diabetes is also of significance because of the nature of its implication in insulin insulin as in inability to clear glucose from the human's blood, and also as inability for human systems to produce them relative to availability of glucose in human blood. Physiological significance of carbohydrates. That's a D-ribose, consists of nucleic acid, flavin, coenzymes, ATP, and ADP. All of these are subjects of their own, in their authority in their own class, if you would. Nucleic acid, for example, it transmits genetic materials within living organisms, called in instruction manual for cells by encoding an information needed to produce proteins. Therefore, dictates organism traits, functionalities, example DNA and RNA. These nucleic acid keep occurring. It runs deep in biochemistry. It keeps occurring in a lot of biochemical pathways, biochemical processes and phenomena. Deribose nucleus. The ribulose. The ribulose is an intermediate in pentphosphate pathway. Pentophosphate pathway. It's the function to generate a pathway that generates ribose 5-phosphate, a crucial building block for nucleotides and nucleic acids. NADH, a reducing agent used in various biosynthetic pathways to combat oxidative stress in cells and also in growth and repair molecules. Arabinose, D-arabinose is another function, it's another sugar or carbohydrate of significance. It contains glycoproteins. Glycoproteins are protective barriers on nasal surfaces, the lining of the intestine. It lubricates and prevents bacterial adhesions, forming a dense layer of molecules on the cells of on cell surface. Example, mucin glycosylation. This protects the body and all organs in which they're found from desiccation, if you would, and then the lining of the intestines itself is lubricated as a consequence of glycoprotein's presence. Key points. Glycoprotein serves as protection. They alter the O-glycosylation. And apart from their lubrication functions, the cell-to-cell recognition, polyglycoproteins play a role in that too. They are also in alterations of glycosylation patterns, can be linked to various diseases. Once a glycosylation pattern of glycoprotein is altered, it's implicated in cancer diseases, inflammation, bowel diseases, all as a consequence of glycoprotein absence or alterations. Arabinose is also involved in immune histocompatibility. There are sources by which immune histocompatibility is detected. Of course, we all know the importance of immune histocompatibility in blood administration, absence of which could be lethal to the receiving patient. Fertilizations. Human fertilization is associated with physiological significance of carbohydrates. They are in part of the drugs or medications that enhances fertilization, and of course their digestion in the human system could create infertility, as it were. Maltose is involved. The enzymatic hydrolysis of starch entails maltose. Lactulose is an alpha fructofuranose. It helps for germination of malt and cereals, all of which, of course, end up as energy to human systems. They are consumables. In summary, carbohydrates of physiological significance are characterized by a number of constituent monosaccharides. Glucose is the most important carbohydrate in food. Physiologically, monosaccharides like ribose, found in nucleotide and nucleic acid, are of significance and run deep in a lot of biochemical process in human body. Significant disaccharides include glucose, glycosyl. Indigestion of starch can also be of physiological significance in human, because carbohydrate runs deep in a lot of human consumptions and a lot of drugs, medications. I mean, they are involved in their formulary and in their pharmacopoeia. Galactosyl glucose is also found in milk. That is of significance in the sense that milk forms part of the human nourishment. Starch and glycogen are storage polymers of glucose in plants, animals, source of energy to the human system. Another significance of carbohydrates in human physiology is the simulation of glycogenolysis, glyconeogenesis, lipolysis, all of which are biochemical pathways that enhances human physiology, creates energy, and also provides energy for growth and exercise. Carbohydrates are complex. They contain amino sugars, uranic acids, and sialic acids, Others include peptidoglycans as in plant and glycosaminoglycan as structural elements of the body tissues. Clinical significance includes diabetes, high blood glucose, and intestinal deficiency. The story of carbohydrates cannot be compressed in 30 minutes lecture as this. A lot has been left out because it was prepared for an academic audience. I thank you very much for your audience. Thank you. Oh.